All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. I am here at the Brewerton Diner. This place is amazing. I'm feeling good. I just had a Brewerton burger, cooked to perfection, provolone cheese and bacon on there with a side of pickles, lettuce on there as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you can go see the picture. Mike L Sports 1979 is my Instagram handle. This place is incredible to come for breakfast or lunch. You can get them on Grubhub. And don't forget to ask about their savings program as well. The Brewerton Diner, offering everything from sandwiches and omelets to their hash entrees to lunch and menu items like the one that I had today, the Brewerton burger, a Reuben Philly steak. You name it, you can get it here at the Brewerton Diner. Those homemade pub chips to die for on the side as well. Get here for Fish Fridays. Stay late. They're open until 8 o'clock here at the Brewerton Diner. I want to get into, on this 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley video on IGTV, Facebook, and YouTube, I want to get into the narrative in sports changing. When you go into a season, it doesn't matter if it's college football or basketball or NHL or NBA or Major League Baseball or the NFL. It doesn't matter. When you go into a season, people make predictions, fans, media alike. People have expectations, right? But when narratives change, the end result is supposed to also change. Let me give you an example. For Syracuse football last year, I had them pegged around 5-7, at best 6-6, going to a bowl. They wildly overachieved because I didn't see the free falling as quick for Florida State and Louisville. And I didn't think that Syracuse would ever get to, 9 wins during the season. But that's exactly what happened. If you had told me before the year, hey, if Syracuse makes a bowl, any bowl, are you happy? Of course I am. Even the Pinstripe Bowl, which I have been ragging on because they've already been there twice, been there, done that one twice under Doug Marrone. However, once the narrative changed, once you started to add more wins and go up in the ACC standings, the narrative changes. You no longer want the Pinstripe Bowl. You want the best bowl possible. You play in the best conference in the ACC, arguably. You beat Florida State. Granted, they're down, but still a big win against a big-name program with 4- and 5-star kids. You beat Louisville. You beat a lot of other teams you're supposed to beat. You nearly knocked off Clemson. To me, a 9-3 team, especially in that division that Syracuse plays in, they have to play Clemson, Louisville, Florida State every year and improve teams elsewhere. And then they've got Pittsburgh on the other side, a team that usually is around 7 or 8 wins every year. To me, you go 9-3, there's no way in hell you should be in the Pinstripe Bowl. The narrative changed. Let me go to hockey for a minute. The Buffalo Sabres. I'm a big Sabres fan. Right now, I'm shut down. I'm tired of it. I'm not watching another game probably the whole year, and I'm not spending any money in Buffalo either. You want to know why? Because this team is totally choked and flushed itself down the toilet. Now, I hear from national hockey people, I hear from some people who cover the team in Western New York, yeah, but the future's bright. Time out. Time out. This team won 10 straight games this year. That's 20 total points. A lot of times, teams finish a season with 87 or 88 or 90 points. They get into the playoffs. Outside of a 10-game win streak, all you have to do is get another X amount of points, and you're a playoff team. The Sabres vaulted to the top of the NHL. Not the second best team, not the third or fourth or fifth best team. They vaulted to the top of the NHL in terms of total points. And this team is skedaddling downhill. They're not going to make the playoffs, in my opinion. They just can't leapfrog all those teams that are there, including the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have a championship moxie to them already, and Carolina and the like. Here's the thing. The narrative changed when they won 10 games. You went into this year and predicted the Sabres around 9, 10, or 11 in the East, and then 2019, 2020 is the year with the Jack Eichel development, year 2 of his big contract, Sam Reinhart, you get Rasmus Dahlin, you hope to pair him with Ristolainen. You're hoping that some of these other young guys, Lawrence Pilot and some others, can grow. But when you win 10 games in a row, man, that narrative changes. All of a sudden, the expectation and the end goal, it becomes the playoffs, in my opinion. So I just think that people don't really understand when a narrative changes that it's okay for expectations and certain things to change. Now, one exception I'll give you is the New York Yankees in 2017. This team wildly overachieved. Many people thought that they weren't going to be able to make the playoffs. They wildly overachieved. They get into the postseason. They end up facing and losing to the Houston Astros in the ALCS, lost in 7 games. Justin Verlander being the difference, of course, acquired at the trade deadline. The team at home won every single game. Houston won games 1 and 2 and 6 and 7, and the Yankees won the middle 3 at home in New York. But here's the thing. After that season, Yankee fans automatically said, whoa, we went to the ALCS last year. We have to get to and win a World Series. Every year is totally different. The way the Yankees did it, they didn't just all of a sudden in the regular season show up and win 100 games. They didn't do that. If they had, the expectation would then have been, well, wait a minute. They won 100 games. They were really good. They overachieved. They got players who are better than maybe a lot of us thought. So now the expectation is just get to the World Series, right? At least get to the World Series. When you start a whole season over again, you change managers. Joe Girardi out, Aaron Boone in. They made a bunch of changes. They go get Giancarlo Stanton stupidly. To me, that season hits the reset button. That's an exception where, a narrative changing in the season, if they didn't do anything before the postseason success, is kind of what I'm getting at, to set the table up for, well, they could do A, B, C, D in the playoffs because of their overachieving and narrative-changing situation in the regular season. But when it doesn't happen that way and you show up and win in the postseason, the narrative completely, should not change, in my opinion, going into the next year, because you have to hit reset to start a new year. So I just think people, look, we make our predictions, we make our expectations, we make the list for those things, and what happens during the season, we go through the roller coaster, right? We go through the ups and downs, we go through a lot of stuff, and all of a sudden, the narrative does change because expectations change. You see certain things happen to a team that you never saw coming in spring training, or you never saw coming in preseason hockey. You never saw coming in NFL training camp. Those things just happen. Now, here's another exception with narratives changing that in terms of this topic, another narrative changing, probably not, I don't think really as realistic as some other people might think. Look at Syracuse basketball back in 2013-14. Remember that team? C.J. Fair, Jeremy Grant, Tyler Ennis. They started the year 25-0. Tyler Ennis hit that buzzer beater against Pittsburgh. This team was vaulting up to the top of the rankings and all the rest. And the immediate thing was Final Four. The problem with that is that narrative can't change because A, you still had a lot of season left to play in conference. B, the NCAA tournament, the conference tournament as well, and then the NCAA tournament, it's not the NFL playoffs in the NCAA tournament. It's a one and done, or the NCAA tournament isn't Major League Baseball, I should say, or the Stanley Cup. It's like the NFL. It's a one and done situation. So even if a team starts 25-0, for somebody to go, they have the Final Four bust, my God, look at, they started 25-0. That narrative does not work for me. You can't change the narrative there because, let's face it, you can go and win 30 games, and in the second game, you play a team that's a tough matchup, and they're raining threes on you. You play a 2-3 zone, you might lose that game. Now we've gotten into a case in point where the 16 seed can beat a 1 seed. We saw that with UMBC and Virginia. Last year, Virginia might have been one of the 2-3 favorite teams in college basketball. What happened to them? They lost to a 16 seed and made history for the wrong reason. So I'm all good with narratives changing within reason in college and pro sports. Mike Lindsley with you. Make sure you get here to the Brewerton Diner. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.